And I'm Good afternoon, one and all. I'm Deepika and I'm working as assistant professor in School of Education at Mangalam University. I welcome you all to the third session of 1 week FDP on new reforms in higher education with reference to NEP 2020. This workshop is being organized by Mangalam University, IQAC Cell, School of Basic and Applied Sciences, and School of Education in collaboration with the Council for Teacher Education Foundation. Delhi NCR chapter from 27 July to 2nd August 2022. Globalization has been one of the most powerful drivers of change in modern times. It has altered every conceivable aspects of our lives, including higher education. Higher education was refocused on internationalization in the 1980s, but in much broader context. Since then, it has become a catchphrase in the international community of higher education. Because of globalization, higher education is becoming more international and aligning its curriculum with those in the other countries so that students can learn the kinds of skills that help to compete in globalized economy. However, it is crucial for graduates to be able to manage today's rapidly changing environment. The quality of higher education will be the highest level possible under the National Education Policy 2020 through national initiatives and which is intertwined with interaction between government policies and higher education institution approaches. The new 2020 aims to make younger generation of learners dynamic global citizens with deep sense of pride in being Indian. With the pride and privilege, I call upon Dr. Preeti Chitkara to give her deliberations on internationalization of higher education with reference to NEP 2020. I welcome you, ma'am. Dr. Preeti Chitkara is Head of Public Relations and International Relations at KIET Group of Institutions, Delhi NCR. She's in PhD in English and Masters in Education, Diploma in Training and Development. Ma'am is conferred with many awards. To name a few, she's honored with Shiksha Ratna Award, PAI Kiranmay Award, the Most Inspiring Women Award 2022, Educationist of the Year 2021, International Women's Achievers Award 2021, Global Teachers Award 2020, and many more. She has more than a decade of experience in field of education. Her research papers, articles have been published in numerous national and international anthologies, magazines, and books. Her blogs are quite popular among the readers. Ma'am is a multi-talent personality and inspiring speaker. Her anthology named Loose Under the Sky, Silver Hues, and endeavored to retrieve smiles on how to help our children choose the right profession and face depressive states of mind has been a source of great inspiration among students, educators, and parents. She's acted in a documentary film named Gandhi Ka Bachpan. She's also bagged numerous titles as Miss Talent, Agman Queen, and Nari Shakti Samman as Top 10 Super Dynamic Women 2017. She's an artist with an inclination towards music, drama, dance, creativity, painting, and various other forms of art. She's a writer, poetess, an editor, a trainer, and above all, she's a great learner. Again, we extend a warm welcome to ma'am, and we look forward to hearing about the internationalization of education in relation to NEP 2020. Ma'am, with your permission, may we begin the session?
Sure, thank you so much, Deepika ma'am. Yes, Tanya ma'am, you want to say something or should I?
I just wanted to welcome you.
Thank you, ma'am. The last word, I think all of it was a great honor from your end to have given such a beautiful introduction of mine. The last word which you said, that is something which defines me most, and that is the ardent learner. So there's one thing common amongst all of us, I believe. We all are scholars, we all are learners, we all believe in growth and development. I think perhaps that's the reason that today we all are here in this wonderful 1 week faculty development program organized by Mangalam University on the brilliant topic, new reforms in higher education with reference to NEP 2020. At the outset, I would like to congratulate and extend my heartiest thanks to IQAC and School of Basic and Applied Science, School of Education, along with the Council for Teacher Education Foundation, Delhi NCR chapter, for giving me this beautiful, wonderful opportunity to connect, discuss, and learn from the brilliant pool of intellectuals who are attending today's session on Internationalization of higher education. I think I can start sharing my screen. Please let me know if it is visible. I hope it's visible.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
So I would start with a small thing which I always recall. I think in 2017, I was in my own office. I joined KIET group of institutions as a faculty for professional communication. And a girl, the picture that you can see on the screen, she came down to me and said, "Ma'am, I'm literally confused for my higher education. I'll be a BTech this year." So she was in the 4th year. And she wanted to go for higher education. So she had a lot of confusion whether I should go to Indian universities or I should opt for a foreign university. I was also a little, confused that time because for till then, I also had a very, flowery image of foreign universities and, abroad people feel like, wow, we should be there. I mean, this is something which is very close to our heart and we start feeling very, very much attracted towards that aura and that, foreign lands and everything. So still, I thought, why should I be answering? Let me get the answer from this girl. I asked her, what is your choice? Where do you want to go? And to my surprise, although this is something which every house is holding nowadays. I mean, initially it was a big deal जब हम ये जानते थे कि हम जब पूछते थे किसी से अरे कहाँ है अरे abroad. So that time we used to feel, oh God, अरे इनका बच्चा तो बाहर पढ़ रहा है. So we used to have very, a very great honor in our hearts. अरे भैया ये तो foreign से आया है, विदेश से आया है. But nowadays, I mean, it has become really, very, very easy and very much into the students, like they want to go for further education to the different lands and have explored the different countries. So she was very, clear about it. Ma'am, I think that international world is the one which is, meant for me. And this is something which I'll choose for, not our own country. I have already done my undergrads from here, but for higher education, I want to go to different country. You suggest which country is the best for me. Because I had a little inclination towards, searching and researching about international universities. So I could, step a little ahead and guide her something on that. Now, she came up with such reasons when I asked her, what is the reason why you want to go outside? She said, ma'am, necessary tools and resources which are needed for higher education are available in the other countries. They are at least 10 to 12 years ahead of us. Internationally acceptable curriculum is not there. Once our student does MTech from this country and then after goes to the other country or other courses also, most of the times it used to happen that people, the outside world is not accepting their degrees as they were. In fact, they were asking them to go for an additional value addition course or a degree or something which can make them internationally acceptable. So she said, ma'am, internationally acceptable curriculum nahi hai, acceptance nahi hai global world mein, practical exposure nahi milega. यहाँ तो सब like it's more theoretical, less practical. Industry academic gap भी बहुत है. A lot of researches have been done and we try to map our academics with industry, but still there is a gap in our country. So she said, ये gap abhi bhi hai, ma'am, or global citizenship. This is something which I really aspire for. I want to be a global citizen. So that's the reason is that I want to go to the other land. अब उसकी बातें सुनकर मुझे बहुत like I just tried to ponder upon it and then I thought, yes, somewhere she is right. If we talk about our country, it is the second most populated country of the world with 138 crore inhabitants and out of which 40% is youth. Now, what to do? Like, how can I say that, okay, you stay back in the country because predominantly India's youth is struggling to adapt to the, the globalized world. So somewhere I had that kind of thought in my mind and thereby I decided that, yes, now let me take up this different initiative and get into getting or gathering information and knowledge about my students and establish an international relations office at this institution. So that's how I got into this thought of getting into the developing this Office of International Relations, which I'm heading right now. At that time, I just begun with it and tried to gather a few students, few people who came together with me to do a lot of research, and we tried to find out why and where we are and where we were. To my, happiness and pride, I found that we had a glorious past of India. I think we all are aware that we have had, Aryabhat in our country. He was born in our country. Sushrut was there, who began with first surgery. Then Patanjali was there, yoga, philosophy, Ayurveda, health, Sanskrit, Vastu Shastra. All these are our privileged glories, which we need to feel so proud of. And if we just give a small recall about it, Takshila University, Nalanda, Vikramshila, Vallabhi University, these were the India's international universities, and so much acclaim they were. बाहर दूर दूर के लोग वो यहाँ इंडिया में पढ़ने आते थे. And what was the reason behind it? I thought, let us get back to that. How come बाहर जाने के लिए हमारे बच्चे हर वक्त उतावले हैं? They want to go to the other countries, other lands. Why can't the outside people be invited to our own institutions, and India should become or get back to the glorious past? This was really something which made me dive deep into knowing what is internationalization. And I tried to find out that internationalization is nothing more than integrating international, intercultural, or global dimensions in education. It is adopting the indicators for an internationalized institute or university, tailoring the changes in curriculum, because as the girl also said, ma'am, curriculum waisa nahi hai, ma'am, infrastructure waisa nahi hai. So we need to develop those kinds of things as per the global need. And if we talk about organizing international outreach programs, conferences, publications, these have become the need of the hour. Following the global standards for research and development activities, collaborating with, and all this is possible once we collaborate with foreign universities for the exchange programs, because that is going to give the exposure to our faculty members also, the students also, who can go there, explore the world, get the kind of information that is required to develop our own institutions and universities too. Thereby, it is very important to incorporate international standards in teaching learning pedagogy. This is what I could gain out of internationalization. But to my surprise and to my extreme happiness, NEP 2020 also came out with the same thing. So if you talk about NEP 2020 policy, it is working like, you can see a woman rising up to the, to the international world. So this is the mission which international education policy has picked up for our higher education. So higher education is to be internationalized as per NEP 2020. And what's the motive behind internationalization according to NEP? Now, NEP says that we need to understand that we have to facilitate our students and faculty mobility. The mobility has to be permitted. The students as well as faculty is to be connected with the foreign world, especially the education world. They need to be mobile. They need to move to and fro. The faculty from the foreign lands have to come to us, lecture our students, tell them how the international education works, what is the pedagogy that they adopt, what is the curriculum that they accept, what is the globalized world looking up to for the education of the students. We have to establish international partnerships for research and enroll our students from around the world. This is something which is, till date, we have been seeing students moving towards outside world. NEP 2020, the best part of it was we have to work in two parallel sides, I should say. How? One is by developing our institution in such a way that we can minimize the number of students who are going out for education, because that is leading to brain drain. And the second thing was to enroll the students from the outside world, attract them towards our own education system. So for that, whatever world-class facilities we have to bring down to our education system, that is the most important thing, I think, according to NEP 2020. So ensuring the feasibility of carrying credits. So credits are to be mapped. The curriculum is to be mapped so that multiple countries the student can be into. So promoting India as a global study destination. This is the final motive of NEP 2020 for higher education. So we talk about strategies. The strategies which NEP tried to give us include internationalization at home. So we have to begin at home. We always say that good things have to begin from home itself. So this is something which we have to begin with. I'll try to give a little detailed explanation of all these in the coming slides. So I'll just try to just give a hint of what all has been given by the NEP 2020 as a strategy. So credit recognition under twinning arrangement, global citizenship approach, ICT-based internationalization, academic and research collaboration, brand building abroad, alumni connect, and office for international affairs. I mean, I was damn happy to get all these things in NEP 2020 because these were the questions. These were the questions that were put forward to me by that student of mine who wanted to go abroad. She said, all these are missing. Now, what NEP has done? NEP has brought us given us such strategies and such clarity on these aspects that all these are to be incorporated in Indian higher education system. So internationalization at home, how to begin with that? What all is required for that? So foreign universities have been allowed to open their branches in India and vice versa. So our universities, our institutions can also have their branches or their own replicas in the other lands. Then after, the STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, computer science, gaming, these are to be tied up with internships and apprenticeship. Now, what is the difference between internship and apprenticeship? Internships are for the trainers who want to learn something and to skill up themselves for a future employment. The apprenticeship is given to the people who are already taken in, but they're given a training to upskill themselves to reach up to the levels of other employees. So these pointers were given by NEP that internationalization has to be done, and we need to incorporate all of these at our places. So residential facilities are to be given to the students from abroad. This is again something which was very, gave me such a lot of happiness, because residential facilities, when we talk about NEP 2020 says that internationalization at home doesn't mean that the students from the outside world will come and just be, there in the hostels or the other places. They can even be accommodated into our own, houses, if we can, have that kind of confidence on them, so that they can learn about our culture, they can learn about our languages, they can know what we have to offer as a living condition and learning environment to the students outside the world. Short-term non-degree niche courses also can be given to the students of the outside world on the topics or the themes that we have been really proud of, like yoga, philosophy, Ayurveda, health, Sanskrit, and Vastu Shastra. Small courses, global perception on our core competencies can be given to the people through these small courses. Then the language is given a lot of importance. So if we talk about more exchange of Indian culture with international students, the local language courses are to be promoted, short-term niche courses in yoga, philosophy, as I already mentioned, then courses on Indian languages, arts, history, and culture. The second thing that was given the importance was credit recognition as per the twinning arrangement. Now, initially, we'll talk about what is twinning arrangement. So twinning is when we tie up with the university and Indian students are enrolled with higher education institution in India, but they complete part of their program at a partnering institution from another country, complying with the relevant national regulations. So there will be an arrangement or an MOU that will be signed between two different institutions or two countries, two universities. And accordingly, like the student will be able to have part of his education from that particular country, from a different international university. But the degree will be provided. The twist in this was that initially the degree was provided by the foreign university, but now what NEP wants is that the degree should be provided by an Indian university or the institution which is tying up with an international one. So how does this agreement promote the internationalization of higher studies in India? We talk about twinning arrangement. So सबसे बड़ी बात जो NEP ने कर दी वो ये थी कि इतना बाहर की जो इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटीज और इंस्टीट्यूशन है जिनके साथ हम टाई अप कर रहे हैं वो नहीं देंगे डिग्री, Degree will be our own. The Indian higher education institution will be giving that degree so that the Indian higher education is promoted to the outside world. Now let's overview the credit recognition. What is credit recognition that they talked about? So credit recognition, and if we talk about the transfer, is when a student goes out for a particular period of time. He learns over there. A few pointers are there as per the curriculum mapping that he has learned from there. So for that purpose, the student is given credits for that. So that credit is to be recognized by the Indian university and the institution, and also transferred to us so that we can, reflect that in his transcript. That is how the credit recognition has to work. So that will be done only through an MOU between Indian and foreign higher education institutions. And if particular institution is an affiliated institution, means it's a part of the university, then tripartite agreement is the way out. Means the MOU will be signed between three parties. That will be an international foreign institution, your own institution, and the university with which the institution is affiliated. Then we talked about the joint course structure. Joint course structure, again, the curriculum of two different courses, one from the Indian university or the institution and one from the outside university. They will be mapped, the curriculum will be mapped. They'll be checking what all is there, which can be learned by a student within this country, and what is there which the student can learn from their institution or the university. And then after, a joint course structure can be prepared, and thereby a joint degree can be given to the student. Exit pathways for students, as it is very much liable and we all are aware, higher education में वैसे भी इतना अच्छा एक I think big change we are looking forward to, and that is multiple exits and multiple entries into the higher education. So this NEP also shared that if a student goes outside this country to study in a foreign education institution, and somewhere in the midst वो उसको लगता है कि नहीं, मैं I cannot live here, मैं नहीं यहाँ पर अच्छे से इसको progress कर पा रहा हूँ, या मैं इसको आगे से नहीं बढ़ पाऊंगा इसमें, तो he should be permitted to get back to his own country. इंडिया में वापस आए और वहीं से जहां से उसने वहां से छोड़ा है वो यहाँ पर अपना वापस को फ्लो में ले सके. So that acceptance of our own students back to our country, exit pathways open कर दिए गए हैं. That's what the reason is that multiple entries India में start हो रही हैं NEP के through. So what will be the benefits? Now, this is a time when I request the members who are there, who have joined us, to just let me know in the chat box what are the benefits which you feel or which you expect that they will be there for when we will have this NEP 2020 internationalization, which is going to happen in the future. Anyone who can just give a few pointers on what do you think, what benefits will come back to us after internationalization of higher education takes place? I'll be waiting for a few. Yes, multiple sources of learning will be there for sure. Neha. Yes, I really agree with that, Neha ma'am, that better quality education will be there. More exposure will be given. Yes. Economic benefits will also be there. Good job opportunities. Very true. Job opportunities, career options will open, broaden. More collaboration will be there. Yes. Yes, exposure to those who are financially weak. Of course, because there'll be a lot of scholarship opportunities that are opening now. Transfer of knowledge and research work, learning gaps can be reduced. Yes, because in terms of vocations will be there, right? So I believe that we'll be able to have a lot of exposure through NEP 2020. So that is going to help us out in a lot of ventures, wherein I believe that students will be able to gather maximum information, maximum, a lot of opportunities will be there for the students to go ahead with the things. Modernization, yes. Okay, the enhancements will be there. Yes. Better earning options will be there. You're very right. Yes. So let's move ahead with the things. A lot of students will be getting better opportunities, and we'll be able to get back to a lot of happy vibes will be there amongst the students. So if we talk about the other options, the global citizenship approach is to be taken in. So this is going to help us out with a global citizenship approach to the students who are aware and understand the wider world and actively works towards making our planet more equal, fair, and sustainable. The credit-based projects will be taken up. Short courses or workshops will be allowed to the students. The engaging like community services will be engaged in. Then the skill development will be done for the students. Moreover, the ICT-based internationalization is the requirement as per NEP 2020. We talk about e-conferences, webinars with foreign students. I think this is something which has been given or gifted to us through COVID-19. So COVID-19 taught us all this, but this is something which can help us out in internationalization a lot. This was a time when we could go for MOOCs. I think all of us must have heard of massive online open courses. So through Coursera, through Swayam, through a lot of different portals which offered MOOC courses, we could get better opportunities, better ways to interact with the international students of ours. Creation of e-content, the pedagogical opportunities of ICT, wherein we can involve all the ICT-based tools, the global infrastructure, the streamlining of admission of foreign education. Then academic and research collaboration. If we talk about short duration student exchange programs, this is something which allows our students to get in touch with the foreign faculty members or professors. We're going to train them into research, how they have to move ahead with the best opportunities for themselves, how they have to find ways to bring changes in the academia. Semester abroad programs under twinning arrangement, faculty exchange programs for short-term projects, workshops and seminars with foreign universities and alumni collaboration. Let me take you a little more into these topics, a little moving ahead. So brand building abroad. This is something again which is making us understand कैसे आज के ज़माने में it is something very important कि जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, right? So if we are thinking of taking our higher education institution to the global world, we need to have global standing for that, for which the students have to be attracted or given such kinds of information and knowledge about our universities, our institution, that the students feel attracted and they take admissions in our campus using the power of social media is the means which we can incorporate to do brand building, and that too in the foreign lands. For us, we can collaborate with our foreign alumni. I think we have many institutions out here, the universities who have their students studying or working in the various countries of the world, so they can collaborate with those alumni and take their support in building brand name in the other countries. Offering scholarship, this is something again which is quite lucrative for the students who are coming from the outside world to our country. We have to establish offshore campuses. So our campus can be having another campus in other countries. Then seminars and cultural events are very important to build brand, especially abroad, with the help of our alumni, with the help of the people who can support us from the other lands. We need to organize seminars, webinars, and cultural events amongst those students who are the prospective incoming students for our country, extending the reach of courses in India. If we have to, as I began with internationalization at home, the same thing is out here. Like we have to initially build ourselves, reach or bring those kinds of courses which would attract students from the outside world to our own country. Now, Alumni Connect, how to establish that? We can have an alumni cell. Of course, most of the universities and institutes do have that. and pull out the database, find out the students who are living or studying abroad or who are established there, try to connect with them, network with them virtually, engage in community service activities through the help of with the help of alumni, promote our brand through them, felicitate them, bring them back to the country, give them the felicitations, make them feel proud of their own university or the institution. Also let them have that feeling, share with them every information that is happening within the campus of theirs. So I don't know, wherever we are, our alma mater is something which pulls us back. So mails and SMSs on various occasions should be shared with the alumni so that they can keep themselves connected with their alma mater and they can help us, support us in branding the institution outside. Other than that, also they can bring and at least promote their institution, talk high about their institution out in the outside world, and ask them that India has a rich heritage for which they can be coming to our own country also for various courses. This is the thing which has been brought down to the information and knowledge by all, like the Office of International Affairs. Now, the Office of International Affairs, how is it going to help us out? This is something which is very, very important and core to what we look forward to. Now, if we talk about International Affairs Office, it has to be a single point contact with foreign institution and foreign students. The registration, it can support the students in registration with FRRO. That is, whenever a student comes into the country, into India, they have to register themselves with this FRRO, that is foreign registration for foreign students. And they have to register over there accordingly. They are helped in their visa and extension of visas. So that support has to be done by the International Relations Office within the institutions and the universities. The support has to be given. They will be very much responsible to give the support in integrating foreign students in the institution's academic and social activities. So for this purpose, the coordination has to be done by the International Affairs Office. That is how they are going to help us out, act as a liaison body between the foreign students and the sponsoring agency or the institution, then address the grievances of foreign students in all matters. This will be the stout clarification and the twinning agreement. The student has come up to our own institution and he has some problems, some thought processes, which can, give them any doubts. They can clarify those doubts under twinning agreement. They can reach out to the International Affairs Office, meet them, get to know about it, then update internationalization into information on the website. This is again very important task which is to be done by the International Relations Office or Affairs Office in any of the institutions and organizations, that they have to keep their information updated on the website. So that is how they're going to matter. Otherwise, they have to publicize everything by word of mouth, but then each and everyone in this country is nowadays tech savvy, would visit your website and would like to see what the office is doing. It is very important that we update our information there. Then a survey has to be done on the needs of the international students, and every support is to be offered by the International Affairs Office. Moreover, they can provide support services for integration of international students into the institution's academic and social activities. It's very important to incorporate, the students are to be brought in, the foreign students who are coming to our country have to be engaged within the institution, and they have to be given that kind of exposure, that kind of loving open hands, who can support them in every kind of situation. They should feel at home within this country itself. So we need to disseminate information related to admission process among prospective foreign students. This will also be the responsibility of this Office for International Affairs. The conceptualization and engaging in promotional activities and effective approach towards brand building campaigns, that has to be done by International Office again. So addressing the concerns of Indian students, implementing and monitoring of institute level strategies of internationalization, Moreover, maintaining records and disseminating all information regarding internationalization within and outside the campus. So that has to be done by the International Relations Office. So all these things, when I have, got to know through NEP, this is giving me a little proud moment that yes, we at our institution have started with this long time back and started giving exposure to the students with internships to different countries, and the students started going to other countries for 45 days or 1 month, and they started learning from there, and all these information, all these informative things were shared by the Office of International Affairs with all the students. It's just because of one reason that I always feel that Indian students really deserve to get those international standards. They have that caliber to be global citizens and accepted in global brands. In fact, Google, Facebook, Amazon, if we talk about biggest, international brands, they are the ones who are taking in the Indian students, I believe, more than the other ones. किसी भी और country से ज़्यादा Indian students वहाँ पर क्यों अच्छा कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि शायद जो क्वालिटी इंडियन एजुकेशन ऑफर करती है वो अभी हम चाहे बाहर तक नहीं पहुंचा पाए, लेकिन वो सच में ऐसी है that our students are so hardworking, they're ardent learners, they're able to imbibe and work upon themselves to get those positions in those grants, and that is only possible if we are able to incorporate more of the things. And ये जो हमारे institutions, higher education institutions है इंडिया में, if they go a little step ahead, 2-3 steps और हम आगे चले जाएं, कुछ चीजें हम अपने अंदर incorporate कर लें, the things which NEP wants is something really wonderful. If we can give our students the standards which are being offered by the other countries, we'll be able to stop our students from brain drain. Moreover, we'll be inviting the students from the other lands to our countries and feel proud to be such, informative, brilliant places that the intellectuals are pouring down to our country. This is how I want to share a small case study about life. I think it's audible.
The great purpose of an institute can be realized better by the impartment of its education. It is to master this physical self, to transcend the beauty of nature. Delineating the same, KIET group of institutions has plunged into carving its ways to global underpinnings and create a universal benchmark. The global presence of our alumni, combined with the victory of our students at NASA, contributed to the spread of the vastness and diversity of our country. Our students won the prestigious AIAA Neil Armstrong Best Design Award in the 25th Annual Rover Challenge held at the US Space and Rocket Center in Alabama, securing first prize amongst 115 teams that hailed from 15 different countries. The students were felicitated by the Honorable President of India at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. KIET Group of Institutions is one of the premier destinations for young minds, offering courses engineering, management, and pharmacy. It continuously strives for the welfare of its students, providing them with best opportunities both on the national and international platforms. Coming together marks the beginning. Staying together brings progress, and working together gives success. Demarcating the same and persuading the aspirations of budding professionals, the International Relations Office at KIET caters to the needs of the students. The institution endeavors to adopt the work culture and teaching learning pedagogy by incorporating vivid international collaborations. KIET Group of Institutions has signed Memorandum of Understanding with a network N+I, an engineering consortium of French Embassy, so that the students at the institute can get better opportunities for international internships and studies in the universities of France. Our collaboration with IQAC, the world's largest youth-run international non-governmental and not-for-profit organization that provides young people with leadership development, cross-cultural internships, and volunteer exchange globalist experiences, is substantial as it provides extensive international internships to our students.
First internship I did in 2018 at DRDO Delhi, and it was very nice experience to work with the scientists and technical people from DRDO, and the which have helped me a lot till now. And the second internship I did in 2018, and it was in Germany, and where I have opportunity to work with a student from the leading institution across the world, and it was a very nice and new experience for me, and that helped me a lot to define my career. And then I moved to Denmark to pursue my master's.
The Institute builds energy and momentum by creating a shared group experience through intellectual research-based initiatives like international conferences, seminars, guest lectures, distinguished lecture series, projects, and research papers in collaborations with esteemed universities like Southwestern Oklahoma State University, USA, University at Uzbekistan, Facens University, Brazil, University at Namankan, and others. Without leaps of imagination, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Turning such possibilities into reality, we knocked the international boundaries when 3 scholars of the Institute stepped ahead for overseas internships in 2018. Then after, more than 12 students of KIET group of institutions have already attended international internships in various countries as Germany, Egypt, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Kenya. We have even received nominations from the students of countries like Brazil, Egypt, and Malaysia who have been selected to visit our institute for an internship in near future. The institute opens another window to look upon the world through language learning. We at KIET offer on-campus German and Japanese language classes to our students by making them proficient in foreign languages and thus making them globally employable.
And I've been pursuing my German language course since first year of my college. So now we are in the second level of the course. So since the first level, I have seen pretty much changes in myself, because there you meet a lot of people, you do lots of activities with them, and which really help to groom your communication and presentation skills.
The Institute organizes IEAW, that is International Education Awareness Week cum Fair, annually to impart a pure intellectual pursuit of understanding, satisfying the desire of our students to become a statesperson with informed decision making. Foreign delegates from multiple universities are invited to share all possible information about why to study abroad, how to prepare and proceed for international education or studies. The week concludes with an education fair, wherein the students get all their queries answered by foreign university representatives. Thereby, KIET has already paved its way to the internationalization of education and dreams to dive deep into it by taking various initiatives in the coming future. Thank you.
So I believe that when we talk about internationalization of education, various factors matter a lot. How we began with is, we took up internships as the first thing which could help students. Internships for 45 days, 1 month, and we started sending our students to have those exposures in the different lands. So when NEP 2020 came and said that, yes, the students have to be mobile, the students have to be given that opportunity, the faculty members have to be given that opportunity to go ahead to other countries and explore those lands, learn from there, come back and serve the country. This is how we begin with, because if we are going to give them the exposure, they will understand that how the curriculum can be mapped, how the pedagogy can be learned. So the faculty members, if they're sent to the other lands, they'll be able to adapt and adopt what is required to match up to the expectations of NEP 2020 to give a full boost and full push to internationalization of higher education. So when we talk about the case study as KIET, because here it is that I worked with the students, learned with the students, made them explore those lands by bringing the outside students in, by sending them outside. So both ways round, the students could learn. We learned how to get the internationalization incorporated within the system. So that's how I feel that if we talk about the internationalization, it has to be worked out. It has to be given, a lot of strength by giving a lot of exposure to our students to different lands. The faculty members, when they went outside, they learned from there, incorporated the same things in the curriculum. And I believe that that is how the global study destination we can become. So if India has to get onto those levels, we need to take steps, we need to get started, we need to give a high boost to our faculty members as well as students who can bring in the maximum, then the knowledge flow has to happen both ways round. So let us get started and bring the best, make India the best global destination as per NEP 2020. Thank you so much. And now invite the questions from the faculty members, if there are any.
Would you like us to take the questions for you, Dr. Preeti? They are being posted in the chat box.
Yes, please, ma'am, please.
Yeah, Deepika, if you can kindly take the questions in the chat box.
Sure, ma'am.
So what I can see in the chat box also, there is Neha, ma'am, I think she's written that, ma'am, are there any provision for loans also? So should I take up this? Yeah. Okay, so as per the, NEP 2020, if we talk about, there are, there's no mention of loans as yet, but yes, if you talk about international education, there are availability of loans. And I think there is a possibility if the student is going outside the country to go for education, the educational loans are provided to the student, and that too on very low EMIs. So they can easily go for the banks, and they will permit them to have loans, of course. There are very many chances of the students that, I mean, this is something which I'm talking about students going outside, but yes, as per NEP, it is the inflow of the students that is to be promoted more. But if we talk about going outside, I think this question was meant for the student who wants to go to the foreign lands to study. Am I right, Neha, ma'am? Yes. So if you want to send a student outside in the other country, the student wants to go for a study abroad program. So there are loans available with banks. They can easily give you that. Moreover, I would be very happy to share that if we want to send the students to different lands, like I have been just working with one of my students who wanted to go to US. So he got very nice scholarship on the basis of his SOP. So he got a very, I think 20% of his study fee, tuition fee was also waived off. Along with that, with that scholarship, he could get the educational loan also. Moreover, that is very, very easy thing. It is not very hard to get these days. The education loans are available.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall we move to the next question?
Yes, please.
So the next question is asked by Dr. Shaila Sarang. So her question is how internationalization of education is applicable in education institutions like B.Ed colleges.
B.Ed colleges, right?
Yes.
So if we talk about higher education, NEP 2020 says that we have to bring in or go for international students, the ones who can travel to our country. And I believe the education department of our country has a lot to give to the students of the international world. If we talk about faculty programs, we talk about conferences, seminars, we talk about connecting with the outside world. It is very much important that the teachers have to learn the pedagogy internally as well as externally. If we talk about the international people who can support the Department of Education, it is also very, very much important because NEP 2020 seeks for the teachers who are ready to teach the students as per NEP 2020, right? So for that purpose, international teachers means the foreign educators, the pedagogy is to be adopted. बाहर की दुनिया में जिस तरह की pedagogy use की जाती है, जैसे वो पढ़ाते हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए अडॉप्ट करना अगर हम हायर एजुकेशन में इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन लाना चाहते हैं, बी इट इन द terms of Department of Education also. Especially, I mean, if we talk about the teachers, the world is looking forward to such teachers who can train and create such kind of environment which NEP 2020 looks forward to, and that can only be given by the Department of Education in this country. So, Department of Education needs a lot of help. They can even impart such education because it is always an exchange of education information that takes place. So, हमारी country के जितने भी teachers हैं, Department of Education can provide information and share the information to the outside world. But yes, we even look forward to the pedagogies that is being offered to the students in the outside world, which can be incorporated by our Department of Education to be given to the teachers, upcoming teachers who have to deal with the students who are going to study in under the the complete changes which are being brought down by NEP 2020. मुझे लगता है कि डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन के लिए तो बहुत बड़े challenges हैं because they have to give or prepare teachers as per the need of NEP 2020. So accordingly, जो बाहर जितने भी pedagogical changes हैं, we need to adopt them. For that, of course, we have to collaborate and try to connect faculty with their faculty so that we can get best of information from their hands. I hope I'm able to meet up to what ma'am wanted to ask.
Yes, ma'am. One more question is asked by Dr. Joydev Gugai. So the question is how internationalization is possible with respect to rural higher education institutions. How such information will play this role?
So rural areas are to be, developed. Of course, when we talk about NEP 2020 for the school levels also, it's a challenge for schools also that they are going to incorporate NEP 2020 into their schools. But then when we talk about internationalization of higher education, it is very important that the institution gradually start developing and bringing in all these things. The language might be a problem. There would be a lot of challenges and struggles out there. But then gradual move has to be made because that is the need of the hour. If NEP 2020 asks that higher education ko internationalize karna hai, so gradual steps have to be taken even if we are in the rural areas. The support can be given by the government. The support can be given by the institutions that are in the urban areas. Of course, they have to be given a hand holding, but gradual steps are to be taken by them even because that is something which is required to make our students global citizens. So that is how I believe that rural, maybe agar higher education institutions hai, rural areas mein, they should be given that kind of hand holding by the government agencies, by the good institution, higher education institutions who can support them, handhold them. And in fact, there is something which I've recently been working upon and I read for. It is the adoption of institutions. So jitne bhi institutions अच्छे से flourish कर रहे हैं and internationalization की तरफ move कर चुके हैं, they can adopt these institutions in the rural areas, support them in all the ways required, because a lot of things will be needed to make them that come to that level, but they can support them if the adoption is done. Thank you.
One more question is asked by Neha Madan. So the question is there any provision for orientation of students from school level education related to opportunities for global citizenship?
So, ma'am, are you asking this question from, individual from KIET or from KR Mangalam? And we have to help you, of course. We are there. Everybody, I think all will be happy to support and, bring forward. If school level education students, of course, need a lot of push and, the motivation. And I believe that nowadays, everybody has such a broad perspective and perspective towards internationalization. Naturally, the orientation can be done. And it should be taken up. In fact, we have to take it up as a responsibility. And nowadays, I think NEP has given us an opportunity to bridge the gap between school education and higher education. Because higher education and school education separately can never survive. So they have to bridge it. They have to give the orientation. Of course, that's a possibility. Any other question, ma'am? Ma'am, you are muted if you're speaking something.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there
Are there
any
any
government bodies
bodies
providing
providing
financial
financial
support
support
to
to
establish
establish
internationalization in rural areas?
For rural areas, see, right now, because the government has given this NEP 2020, they are into the process of making policies and to support. As yet, I have not been able to find any government agency which I can quote here to that this agency is supporting. But yes, I've seen that because NEP 2020 has been we have been asked to implement it. Of course, there'll be some help which can be provided. No name can be quoted right now.
Thank you, ma'am. One more question is asked by Dr. Kalpana Dikshit. She's asking, what is the status of virtual university?
What is
the status of virtual universities?
status of virtual universities? You're talking about the ones which are established in the outside world? Please clarify, ma'am. Are you talking about the virtual universities which are established in the foreign lands?
Should we unmute Dr. Kalpana Dikshit?
Yes. Yes.
Participants may raise their hand to ask questions. We'll mute one by one and you may clarify your questions.
So I have unmuted Dr. Kalpana Dikshit. Yes, you can go ahead.
Kalpana ma'am, you're requested to clarify your question, please. I think you can unmute yourself and speak. Oh, there's no mic and video access. Video is okay? Yes, yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, Dr. Preeti, I am asking the question about the status of virtual universities. Virtual universities that are working in India as well as in abroad also, and they are getting recognition from the abroad authority of recognition, not from India or UGC. So what are their status? I am talking in terms of internalization.
Internationalization you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kalpana ma'am, when we talk about virtual universities, of course, it's the time when we have gone through COVID. So COVID has given us an opportunity to connect virtually. But if you ask me personally about it, I cannot say much on because it is the matter of respect for them that they have formed such kinds of universities. But I personally believe that after COVID-19, we got to know that it is required for the if we are not into the job. Of course, the people who are in job, they might go for virtual certifications and virtual things easily. But yes, still there's a need of personal connect for the universities even. So if we talk about getting the education or the information about the topics or the subjects which can be learned virtually, of course, virtual universities can be appreciated. But the ones which are onto the practical side, wherein the hands-on working is required, hands-on learning is required, I don't think that virtual university should be opted for.
Thank you, Dr. Preeti. In fact, they are giving very honorary doctorate and certification and all that. What are the recognition of that? Nothing, no. That is why I'm asking this question. You people are doing hard work, but they are in competition. So what we do now? Okay, thank you, Dr. Preeti. Nice answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Deepika ma'am, any other question?
Kindly please raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Please raise your hand, whosoever wants to ask any question.
Yes. Yes, Preeti ma'am, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Riddhi ma'am, you can unmute yourself, I think.
Now I am unmuting Miss Janki Agarwal, ma'am. If you have any question, you may go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, you are not audible to us. Please, we are not able to hear you.
Bhaskar Rao sir, if you want to ask the question, you can ask first. I think you are also unmuted.
I have unmuted all the participants who raised their hands. So any one of them can go ahead and ask the question they are having.
Archana ma'am, you can ask the question.
Okay, there is one question from the side of Dr. Manisha Pathak. Are there any government bodies providing financial support to establish internationalization in rural areas? So if
We've already
Manisha,
dealt with this answer, I
Okay.
think. We've already answered this. Yeah.
okay, sorry. Any participant who is having any question, they may raise their hand or they can post their question in the chat box.
Okay, till somebody asked the questions, I remember one thing. I think Madan ma'am, Neha Madan ma'am has given us a question. If any orientation or support can be given, I should, be very clear in, giving her the tips also on that. We can share a few tips which she can herself, incorporate and let the students be aware of the things which are required to be global citizens. I think you can have some connects which can help you out with the students getting all information related to internationalization. Like how can they be a global citizen? So start with small sessions in-house. So you can have that kind of exposure, that kind of learning as you have attended this session also today. So if you want to incorporate that in your own institution or school, you can easily give them the sessions on that. Like we began with small sessions for our students, which made them aware. It is very important for the students to take informed decisions. So to make them aware of everything, what all is like globally being done, what all innovation is being done, scientifically where all we are moving, what is there which we can bring into our country, which can help our students, enrich their information and knowledge. So just try to bring that down to the students, and students will themselves start coming down to you with their queries. They would like to know more, and then after you can have the orientation and connect with them. Yes, ma'am. Rajni, ma'am, do you have any question?
One more question is posted by Harun Sarwal. So sports need to be uplifted. What all is being done for students in the area so that our kids can excel internationally?
I think international universities are being brought into the country to connect with the sports universities. I have just been in touch with one of the very good sports institution which has collaborated with the international university and given a great exposure to their students. The students are being sent to those universities to participate in various wonderful events and bring accolades and a lot of laurels to the country even. So sports is something which has to be given again, as Department of Education was a little inquisitive whether we want to or we should be collaborating or not. This is something which is opening a lot of wide, ways for all kinds of arts, culture, sports, literary, every kind of university, every kind of department, which can easily bring in, the information from the different countries and even send the students to bring accolades. This gives a lot of confidence to the students. So yes, they are being promoted. They are being, given that kind of exposure. I would really, request the sports universities and institutions also to come forward, take the step ahead, collaborate with international universities, give exposure to your students, and even try to bring in such students who are from, the six different countries which are, nearby us. At least those students can be easily attracted towards our institutions, our country. We can begin with that, and so that they can also get that kind of exposure which our sports are giving. Some of our sports are, that marvelous as kabaddi and hockey, which we have ourselves been, losing tracks and tracks of. So let us bring them and give them that kind of exposure, which is very much required.
Dr. Surekha has raised her hand, so I'm unmuting her. Dr. Surekha, you may go ahead with your question.
The hand has been lowered, I think. Ma'am, you don't have any question?
That was by mistake.
Any questions? You may please ask or post on Q&A session.
I believe that I had a feeling like yesterday I said to Tanya, even I want to make it more interactive. So I tried to keep myself less into the speaking part. I wanted everybody to interact and share. If they want to know anything from my end, I'm there to support and help. I'm a learner myself. Tanya ma'am knows it well. Yesterday I told her that I want it to be more interactive, and it doesn't have to come like a lecture. It is something which we have to discuss like. So if you want anything which we need to discuss, please come forward with the questions. I'll be more than happy to support and share.
Ma'am, one question is put up by Dr. P.C. Jenna. If we talk about internationalization of education, what should the classroom situation in terms of facilities, taking it in account to rural India? So he's talking about what facilities should be given or should be there in colleges or higher education in rural India.
So if you remember, the very first slide of mine was related to internationalization at home, which talked about what all we need to put into ourselves when we talk about internationalization. Of course, for rural India, we need to support them. We need to give them a lot of financial and other supports even. The foreign universities have been asked and they've been allowed to open their branches in India and vice versa. So we can invite some foreign universities to collaborate with rural universities or institutions even. They can support them. And moreover, if we have STEM programs with us, that is science, technology, engineering, and management, computer science, or gaming, that can be tied up with the foreign universities or even the universities in the urban areas that are doing really well, so that they can give them the internships, or they can even give them summer school, winter school, and they might be uplifted from the rural areas to have that kind of enhancement, that kind of global citizenship, that learning can happen with them also. The residential facilities, I mean, if the students want to go abroad, they can also be supported that way. The government has a lot of they're offering a lot of scholarships to the students. The meritorious students are getting that kind of exposure. Even the universities, if we talk about AKTU, AICTE, engineering institutions, they are being given that kind of support that they can send their students to the different countries, and the financial support can be provided through the institution. If we talk about my own institution, we have even offered scholarships to the students for internships. So the college is giving them 30% of the amount which they spend as a scholarship amount to just give them the exposure to the different lands. The exchange of Indian culture is very important. So the rural areas, I believe that they are the ones who are the base of Indian culture. So they can be even, they can be made to interact and get in touch with the international students. They can be given that kind of exposure, or they can be given that kind of enlightenment that they can exchange their culture with the international students, even online or virtually, if we can begin with that. Because nowadays, I mean, I don't think there is any technical problem in the rural areas. They have also tried to give that kind of exposure, because network and everything was needed, or was in need of the hour during COVID. So perhaps they can connect virtually initially, and then after they can go for the different physical programs also. Then it is very important that we can enhance our own students into the niche courses of our own country initially. So if they have some expertise in yoga, philosophy, Ayurveda, or Sanskrit, so they can become a master of that. And then after, if they are made to interact with the foreign students, they will be able to give a very good hype to our own Indian culture. So that kind of thing can easily be adopted and given to our rural area students, which will help them to enhance their information and knowledge, and even make the international students be attracted towards our country. This is something which can be done for the rural students, rural area higher education students. They can enhance themselves, and then after, initially on online basis or webinar basis, and then after, gradual physical movements can be allowed to them. I hope I have answered your question, sir.
Yes, ma'am. One more question is posted by Ms. Bhavna Agarwal. So she's talking about, she writes, all points of NEP 2020 is possible in vast country like India. So with lots of corruption at all levels. So she's talking about how NEP 2020 will be implemented in India, and as the corruption, she is talking about with respect to corruption levels at all levels.
So, ma'am, the day when I thought of, the glorious past of India, and coming down to this, time, the NEP 2020 initially was taken, or is even, nowadays, a little question mark is there in the hearts and minds of people, whether we'll be able to implement it in, heart and soul, just because of the corruption part. Or we can say that it is like something which has always made us feel that yes, we won't be able to take it because some political party has introduced it. Now, if I talk about the motives behind internationalization as per NEP 2020, I'm just referring to the higher education as yet. So the motive is to promote India as a global study destination. When we talk about global study destination as NEP's motive, I think this is something which is very much near to all our hearts. Perhaps the corruption is, I mean, we should be keeping the political parties and the corruption out of education system. This is very much needed, because otherwise, if we talk about the school levels also, if we talk about the higher education levels also, we won't be able to implement anything. But it is the need of the hour. We need to provide the country with global citizens. And how would we be able to do if the corruption we are going to pour in? So we need to, instead of saying that NEP 2020 aayega ya nahi, we should say corruption ko isko bahar kaise nikalna. We should find our answer for that. Ki corruption should not ever get into educational things, otherwise country will never be able to progress. Because शायद एक educational institution ही है जिसमें अगर corruption को बाहर ही रखा जाए तो ऐसा इतना vast, इतनी wide levels they can provide to our students. The students' brain drain कितना जबरदस्त हो रहा है, and it is just because of the corruption, because otherwise the students are not able to get that kind of salary hikes, that kind of, even if they are very well qualified. So we have to think about how to keep the corruption out. We don't have to think कि corruption के साथ NEP होगा या नहीं. NEP के लिए हमें corruption को बाहर निकालना होगा. I think corruption का नाम भी नहीं लेना है इसमें. So we don't have to bring corruption here.
Thank you, ma'am. I couldn't agree more. Well said. So one more question is asked by Ms. Monica Pegu. So her question is, how can we orient our students who are mostly first generation learners?
first generation learners, ma'am, can you clarify what you want to say in this? If you can come over audio call.
Ma'am, you may raise your hand.
Miss Monica Berry. Till then, we can move to the next question. In most of the Indian college physical and IT facilities are very poor. Then how can we give exposure to our students for internationalization?
See, when we talk about the present scenario, and if we think about the internationalization, it seems to be really difficult. But when we talk about moving ahead with our head held high, we need to take small steps at our own levels initially. But yes, when the students, this is not something which we are talking about the institutions which do not have their alumni outside, which do not cannot give any exposure to the students because of the infrastructural problems. But if we talk about the technological things can easily be incorporated in any form. Moreover, if you have that kind of connect, you can incorporate the lectures or talks by your alumni, the ones who are there out in the outside world. So small steps can easily be taken, even if infrastructure is not that of that very high level. If it is a government institution, I believe that gradually government will come forward to support the institution to get into internationalization. But if it is not a government institution, the private institutions have to take a leap towards that site, because they need to give the exposure to the students. Gradual things have to happen, and then the financial things are to be managed by the students themselves. They will be managing, because as I have said, I mean, few students, there's a very good example of one student who is a son of a farmer. Right. So I got an application from him, ma'am, I need a lot of support from your end because I want to go to Malaysia for further studies. He came down to me with his research papers. So the option was out. He had so much of research work done. So उसने Google से अपने आप से work करके अपने teachers के साथ collaborate करके उसने इतने सारे research papers कर लिए. Any of the international university was ready to accept him by giving him a lot of scholarships. They gave him the scholarship, they gave him the to and fro fare even. And that son of farmer, nowadays, if you find him, I mean, he's a boss, I should salute him that way. And the way he grew up, कुछ भी उसके पास कोई infrastructure नहीं था, कुछ financial supports नहीं थे, कोई college तब तक नहीं करता था. He came down to me. I wasn't able to support him financially that time because he was a pass out, but the kind of degrees he had, the kind of research papers he had, the kind of, the exposure. अभी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो profile building में help करती हैं. That I can easily share with you. A student or a person who aspires to go for the foreign studies. Abhi, I'm talking about going out, but NEP promotes coming in also, so that we have to take care of that also. But if we want to develop that kind of profile, there are few things that we need to be very careful about since the first year itself, since the beginning of your undergrads. Start working out on yourself by participating in extracurricular activities, writing research papers, engaging with a lot of people around. Moreover, the social media, especially the LinkedIn, that profile of yours is very, very important. So whatever small activity you participate in, I mean, internationally, jitne bhi students mere saath work karte hain, they keep posting their things. Ma'am, I have worked as a coordinator. I have worked as this in the international department, international relations department. We have done this particular event. A talk was arranged for us. The conference was there. Small seminars, webinars, courses. You should add on to your profile by doing the courses through Coursera, through MOOCs. Like during COVID, we did a lot of courses from Paris universities, which was not possible otherwise. हम लोग नहीं कर सकते थे, MOOCs and everything, we have gone for it. So how to go build your profile? By doing taking small steps, build your profile such कि आपके लिए बाहर की university, तो they are indebted. They themselves feel so happy and obliged to get that kind of student. And they offer a lot of scholarships. They offer a lot of financial aids to such students who are meritorious also and who are who have built their profile accordingly. So a lot of work can be done without, abhi jo rural wale students ki bhi baat ho rahi thi, higher education institutions ke liye, they can also do this because as as I quoted, one of the students has done it, and he is right now in Malaysia and bringing accolades and laurels to her parents also along with this institute. So that is only possible once you prepare your mind that yes, you have to make it through. And how to do it? The profile building is to be made in such a way that you are accepted and you're invited for that. So that doesn't require anything in hand before, even thinking of. So if you have thought that you have to do it, it means you have to start building your profile. You have to start, writing research papers. You have to start posting things on your LinkedIn. You have to be socially active. Connect with the professors and faculty members from the outside world. They will support you in any way and every way.
Ma'am, one more question is asked. So the question is how NEP addresses the internationalization of remote areas where our education hasn't reached yet.
Hasn't reached yet.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes, ma'am.
NEP 2020, if you're talking about school education, of course, it has a different perspective, because school education is being promoted by the government in that way, that NEP 2020 still, it is working on providing free education to the students from like till class 8 or 14 years. That of course is there. But if you're talking about the higher education, of course, the students from the remote areas are also being brought out from their areas. They're being given the information and everything. If per chance you feel that yes, higher education institution have to come and support for that, you can even reach out to them. The government thing is, of course, because NEP 2020 has been brought down 2 years back. The policies are being made. The streamlines are being done. So hopefully we can have something for the remote areas too. Any other question, ma'am? Ashwini sir has raised his hand.
One more question by Dr. Praveen Kumar Sharma. So he's talking about, is there anything or any help or provided for the financial status and working culture of private college teachers?
Yes. So for private college teachers, if they are going for an international, kind of internship, or they are going for a faculty exchange program, there are the universities which are providing them with the financial aids. I am aware of AICTE, AKTU. They are giving 1 lakh financial support to the faculty members who are going for the presentation of the papers also. If they're going in the international world for any of the countries for the presentation of the papers, they are being supported financially. So most of the universities are coming forward with financial supports for the faculty members if they want to go outside for their learning or enhancement of their profile. So private universities are certainly coming ahead with this. Is Deepika ma'am, any other question?
No, ma'am. I can see Ashwini Dhruv raising his hand. So if he wants to ask any question, we can unmute him.
Ashwini sir?
I have already unmuted you, Mr. Ashwini. You may go ahead and ask any question, or you may give your point.
I think Monica ma'am has already asked, or she's also in the queue as yet. Yes, I think she was the one who posted a question, but I wanted to get a clarification from her end. Monica
Yes,
ma'am, please, can you clarify that? Should we be silent or should we go ahead with things? Is there any other? Yes. Yes, Pooja ma'am.
One point is there from the side of Dr. Joy Dev, but the question is not clear. Point is also not clear. The point is internationalization of higher education and HECI.
So what does he want to ask?
Yes, Dr. Joy Dev, if you want to ask any question or give your point, you may unmute yourself. Dr. Joy Dev. He has posted in the chat box that he wants to know about role of HECI.
So it is Higher Education Commission that you're talking about?
So you may unmute yourself. I have already given you the rights.
So because now we are going to have an Higher Education Commission instead of UGC and the other bodies which have been going to be merged together. So Higher Education Commission, if we talk about, of course, that is going to play a role in bringing in the implementation of NEP 2020. So implementation part, of course, as we were talking about rural areas, we're talking about the remote areas. So all these queries and questions can be brought into the limelight and how they have to be worked upon. So that is something which is to be done by Higher Education Commission. And they are going to let us know about how government agencies can come forward with the solutions to all these. Of course, internationalization of higher education has to be in line with the policies or the principles laid down by them.
Thank you, ma'am. So I guess we're not left with any more questions. So we may wind it now. So ma'am, it was a very interactive and informative session. The deliberation helped us to know the detailed information about internationalization of higher education. We also got to know about strategies that are being identified in NEP 2020 with respect to internationalization of higher education. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Tanya Gupta ma'am, Dean of School of Education, to deliver her vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Deepika. I'd like to, at the outset, extend my gratitude to Dr. Preeti Chitkara, Head International Relations, KIET Group of Institutions, for doing such a wonderful presentation on internationalization of higher education. I wish to sum up your points since I've been called to deliver the vote of thanks. Besides that, I would also like to add a few points to what you have said. So first, to sum up, madam, you started the presentation about giving us the conceptual meaning of internationalization, what it means, and what is its context in terms of higher education. We also saw within your presentation that our universities should give opportunities and should engage with the foreign universities for academic collaborations, for research collaborations. These can be through twinning programs, a lot of internships, apprenticeships, memorandums of understanding, credit recognition. And as we all know that the new education policy, or our national education policy 2020 it talks of credit transfers. The idea about the NEP is making the entire education available to our students in a very flexible manner. On-time learning, self-paced learning. Anytime a student wants to exit, wants to pursue whatsoever reasons, maybe could be financial aspects, or it could be one needs to get into a job, or one decides to leave the academic pursuit, it is absolutely fine. So the system is flexible. And I certainly agree with what you say with these points. Also, a wonderful point that you put up was about the Alumni Connect. And, the strength of an institution is the alumni. And when the alumni praise and speak, see, any institution builds its brand. If I use the customized word, the marketized word, its brand is either through its strong academics or its successful students who are doing well in wherever, whether it is a higher education or it is a job, or they're excelling by and large in some social impact sector. So I do agree that internationalization, we have to take the alumni, we need to connect them, we need to keep re-inviting them, and they must feel connected to the alma mater. So that was another wonderful point. And in your presentation, you mentioned about the cross-cultural events. So wonderfully put up point. And you also talked about the ICT-based internationalization. So, we can go through development of e-content, e-conferences, e-seminars, and so many other things. In fact, I think this has been a day where there have been so many questions. So many questions have come in, and you've been able to explain the questions very nicely. The participants have also felt free to interact with you. And I was just, kind of wondering, there were 2-3 questions, and I cannot hold myself. If you allow, if I can speak, because you are the guest for the day. But I still would like to add. I was seeing the kind of questions, that came. People were concerned about rural India. So as we know that the NEP 2020 talks about the internationalization, and the internationalization is in terms of collaborations, in terms of partnering of institutions, in terms of student mobility, in terms of faculty mobility. Yeah, but it also mentions it should be with the top class universities of the world. So, I was wondering that there was a time, and I was reading a book. I was inspired by reading a book by Professor Ved Prakash ji, which just is, and I, whatever I'm speaking is from my understanding, from, what he has talked about the various aspects of NEP. And it made me ponder. There were times when, we had our leaders, our educationists going abroad to study. Years back, they were going to become lawyers. They were going to do their degrees, because at that time, we didn't have that kind of, exposure in our country. But today we are a country which has, I don't know how many colleges. I think we must be about above 44,000 colleges. And a lot of money from our country, our reserves, are getting drained in a way, because our children are going abroad and they are studying. And so maybe this is one good way that we save our currency, and we have we invite people in our country rather than taking out the reserves to the other world. I mean, why should we? That I have an economics background, so I was thinking from that kind of point of view also. So it's a good thing. But I was wondering that when there were no opportunities, Dr. Chitkara, when there were no universities, though of course we are pioneers of world-class universities. You mentioned Takshila, Vikramshila, yeah, and Nalanda. So we are a world-class nation. Yeah, we have been a Vishwaguru. I was wondering कि आज के जो बच्चे हैं वो क्यों बाहर जाते हैं? Why do they want to go abroad and study? And it came from your presentation, the kind of Someone mentioned about the corruption aspect, but I think, it made me go back to the crisis which came recently. We saw kids stuck up in Ukraine. The conflict that came in between Russia and Ukraine, we found our children, our citizens at crossroads, our children in different colleges, they were stuck up. And, there have been a lot of surveys. I'm quoting some research surveys, which I have kind of gone before, the session that was to be conducted today, is that, when children are asked that, why do you want to go out and study from India? You have so many institutions in the country. Why you want to go out and study? So of course, one mindset of a youth is कि बाहर जो पढ़ाई है वो world class पढ़ाई. That's there. The kind of academics that they have, the kind of opportunities they give, and the kind of salaries. Let's not forget, because every child wants to study to get employment. So the possibilities of a good salary is, better elsewhere, because unfortunately we are a very populous nation. So that's not a forum to really talk of certain bold things here. But yes, whatever the reasons may be, we haven't been either able to allocate 6% GDP to our education sector, even till this date. This is something which was in 64, 66 by the Kothari Commission. I don't know what is the reason. I may sound a little bold in saying, but perhaps it's even a lack of political will. It could be that. So, what I'm trying to reflect is that, why do children go abroad today? Is it just salaries? So the surveys that I have read, which have been done, also mention that children feel that the tuition fees in the private colleges of India are very expensive. Studying abroad is far more cheaper, especially NEET, for instance, NEET. I mean, we have a lot of examples around, our own families, how much our children struggle, and if they do not get a seat, we know what it is to get through a seat in a medical college, in a private college. And then what are the options that are, available? So children are going out. My only point, and to take what you have said forward, absolutely, I do agree. And now, since the NEP is to be implemented, and this will be implemented, with the background of internationalization, we've had, the Yashpal Committee report, which was in 2009. It came out with a recommendation of having foreign universities. The National Knowledge Commission of 2005, prior to that, also came with a recommendation. And then there were a lot of bills tabled in the parliament in 2010, 11, 14. Somehow the regulation could not be passed. The law could not be passed. My only submission and my stance to this FGP, to the participants and to the engaged gathering here, and to you as well as madam, is because I was just trying to understand that, do we allow everyone to, come into our, can we do some kind of a legislative and a regulatory mechanism where we say only top 100 or top 150 universities of the world will be allowed to come in India? Let it not be very market oriented. I feel not everybody should be allowed in our country. That's one opinion which I would like to share here. Secondly is I feel that when you mentioned that our universities need to upgrade, we have our own traditions, we have our own knowledge systems, we have a rich culture. People, the tourists across the world, they look for coming to our country. Of course, we are also a very economically point of view, we attract a lot of people to our country because it's cheaper here as well. when we can impart our culture to the students who are coming from the Western world, is it somewhere nationalization, this perspective that the people who are coming to our country, through some kind of an arrangement, or if they're coming as, as an operator in our country, they will provide that real culture of their country to our children. Like we are talking of giving the culture, to the children abroad. And my last, point, which I feel here is, and extending to what you've said, very rightly said, the internships, the MOUs, excellent. That kind of collaboration is required, because what are we actually into the system for? We are here in to give our students the best experience. But I will also have a word of caution here, is that whatever we are talking in this policy, whether it is internationalization or it is vocationalization or whatever things, there are 5 founding principles of the national education policy. One is access. So internationalization will certainly provide access, but I am worried that it should provide equitable, inclusive, and affordable access. Internationalization should provide equitable and affordable education to our children, those who are coming to our country, so that the children don't go out. Because if it's a solution to letting your reserves not going out of the country, then yes, it has to come in an affordable manner to our country. So that is what I kind of wanted to say. So I feel we need to be very cautious on the kind of institutions, the quality, and I think a collaborative model would be much better than allowing a standalone, university to set its campus, and it shouldn't lead to something very for-profit or commercial. So that's just my submission.
Just to add on something to you, ma'am. Sorry for making an interruption, but then the point that you mentioned at the beginning, I should salute your thought process, because that is very much there in the NEP 2020. They mentioned that top 100 universities are only permitted to enter in, or the top 1,000 as per Times or QS rankings. So these are the only ones which have been permitted as yet, as per the NEP 2020, who can be allowed for this twinning program. Of course, the other collaborations can be done with others also, but for twinning, these are the ones which have been permitted as per today's, the scenario. So I really agree to whatever you said. We have to, and I think, little light has been thrown by the NEP 2020 on all the points that you mentioned, and it is really something which is to be incorporated, in fact. Very true.
Yeah, because I always feel that it has to be affordable, it shouldn't be that our children need to go to Russia or they need to go to Australia to study. If we can create that, because, it's not only the education cost, it is also a living cost. So and we know how it goes through the pocket of a middle-class family.
Moreover, it isn't just one, time expenditure. We lead to a brain drain, complete brain drain. The student will not be coming back if they, although I believe that once you have the taste of that, foreign lands and you enjoy that life out there, I don't think much of the people are ready to come back to the country. Though I always ask my students, you have to go out, learn, come back and serve your country. Yes, ma'am. Very nicely they come up with, yes, ma'am. But I've not seen yet that many of the students have come back. It's very few that they have been able to come back, and at least, but yes, alumni connect, and through them, the trainings which are being given to the others, perhaps that is the way that we can, at least keep them connected with the country itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been a wonderful session, Dr. Preeti. I'm so thankful, and I express my deep gratitude to you on behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Mangalam University, School of Basic and Applied Sciences, School of Education, and CTEF Delhi NCR chapter. We are really grateful that you've been a part of us, and I express my gratitude to the Professor Satyendra Gupta ji also, who's the chairperson of CTEF Delhi NCR, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, who's the Secretary General of the CTEF Delhi NCR chapter. It is through them that we could connect you, and we are so happy that we got connected. And of course, we can also look in for a lot of partnerships within the front as well. So great job. I think you're doing a fantastic job. That was evident through the presentation as well. Really thank you. And I would like to thank Deepika. Deepika, thank you for conducting the session so well. Dr. Pooja Verma and Dr. Rajni Gautam, thank you so much. You've been amazing colleagues to take this session forward, and to the technical support, endless technical support that's been given by Mr. Dharamveer ji. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the participants for being here with us, and I hope the session has been truly engaging for you and you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.